Broncos Guru. Boy, do I got a submarine for you. Hit me up in the messages. I'll send this your way.
These images come from our good friends over at Coldwater Divers. They're always sending us amazing footage of all the salvage operations they do. We get sent tons of salvage photos and videos every week. And it's always amazing to me. I always wonder how much horsepower these guys have to have on the back of the boat to be able to pull a job like this off. And today we're going to talk a little about that. Horsepower and boats. It really is one of the most asked questions on the old internet forums when somebody's ordering a boat. Which engine should I put on the back? The answer, the biggest one you can. I mean, come on, 600 horsepower is the perfect match for a 28-foot pontoon. But a lot of people wind up ordering smaller motors than their max horsepower rating for their boat. Kinda shocking, right? Now, I'm assuming most people do this to save a few Benjamins, trying to be that budget-conscious boater. But before you get out there and decide, well, I don't want to sink any more money into this boat than I have to, really try and analyze the type of boating you're doing before you just abandon ship on getting that extra horsepower, because you may find yourself in some situations where it really wasn't just throwing money down a hole. You may actually want the extra horsepower over the money you would save. Because let's be honest, nothing stinks more than being in a situation where you could have used the extra horsepower and not having it. So now you're asking, BG, how do I determine how much horsepower I need? Well, one, like we mentioned earlier, I would probably go with the manufacturer's rating. Whatever their maximum rating on the boat you're buying is, go ahead and buy that bigger motor, unless you're just going to cruise around on a lake and not really do much. But if you're an adventurous person, like to get offshore, like to get out and do things on a boat, you're probably going to want that extra power. Another big advantage to getting the extra power, well, that's going to be resale. I know you think I'm paying more to get extra power, but the reality is you'll probably recoup some of that money when you go back to sell the boat. What I found over years of buying and selling boats, the higher horsepower models typically hold a much higher resale value, and the lower models you typically get stuck with a little longer before you can get it sold. Because typically you never know what the next person's going to do with the boat, so just because you determined you didn't need the extra horsepower, that person who's looking at your boat, they may need it for the tasks they plan to perform on it. So now we've talked about horsepower on boats, but there is another horsepower factor that goes into boating, and that's going to be that tow vehicle. Now, you may wonder, how does this apply? Should I buy my tow vehicle based around the boat? No! Once again, buy the most horsepower you can afford, because you never know. Everybody gets 2-foot itis, and you're always going to want to upgrade the boat. Plus, if you've got too much horsepower, you can find ways to better secure the boat and the trailer to the tow vehicle to make sure you don't rip it off. Because this is another situation where things can stink. You decide to go cheap on the tow vehicle. Of course, later on, you decide you need just a little bit bigger boat, and the next thing you know, you're stuck in a situation where I have to go buy another tow vehicle again because I don't have a big enough truck to tow that brand new Sueños 53 you just ordered. I mean, what other boat would you upgrade to? Tow vehicles really are another very popular subject in the old interweb forums. Everybody's always on there asking, hey, I just ordered a 7,000 pound boat. Will my Honda Pilot that's only rated for 3,500 pounds tow this boat? No, that's the answer. And then you always get the response back, well, I only tow on flat land. I only tow 2 miles. Well, let's be honest, bro. I've never seen a flat boat ramp in my life, so no, you will not only be towing on flat land. So what happens if you do stick with that Honda Pilot? Well, then we go back to the other question. You better have upgraded the horsepower on the boat so you can get this thing off the ramp. Because if you went cheap on both, you might find yourself in some tough spots. But I guess with the money you save, you could at least invest in some nicer tires on the truck and maybe some tow straps to help get you off the ramp. But let me know in the comments below your thoughts on this. Did you buy the highest horsepower boat you could and the top tow vehicle you could? Or did you wind up going cheap on both? And did you have any regrets to either of those decisions? Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boneheaded Boaters of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like AMT Buoy Boat, Andrew Clellan, Captain Gibb, Captain Retriever, Lake Powell Burner, Jamie Hoffey, Picasso West, and Adam Coolidge did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here.